lipstick on. I'm always impressed. It's like I used to care. That was funny. Yes. I had a yeah. Yeah. I would kind of. Yeah. Is it? I just wanted to say that.
Good morning. My name is Amy Miller. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a worship associate for this church. I'm so glad that you're with me this morning, even though I whacked that a little too softly, I'm being told by Kathy Disney. But thank you for joining us, even when we are being soft. Over the last few years, the way that we have met as a congregation has often changed. Whether you've been here in person, by Zoom, or on the YouTube live stream, we have continued to deepen our connections. We have continued to bring meaning to our lives. We have continued to proclaim who we are and what we're about, throwing open the doors of the congregation and proclaiming the radical love and welcome that's at the heart of our faith. The Unitarian Church of Lincoln aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration. We want to transform ourselves and our world. Welcome to this loving community. May we, in gathering here, be about the work of transforming ourselves and the world.
My name is Peg Pelter, and my pronouns are she, hers. I am a member of the Board of Trustees, and I want to offer a special welcome to those of you who are visiting for the first time. I have a few announcements to share as our church community extends beyond Sunday morning worship. We have some special treats today. We have mini cheesecakes to celebrate Dr. Bob Fulson's time as our music director, and we also have alcoholic and non-alcoholic versions of Irish coffee, thanks to Peg and Larry Pelter. Yeah, this is a tradition that goes back to 1963. It's always on Boxing Sunday, the Sunday between Christmas and New Year's. Anyway, the registration link is live for Reverend AJ's UU History Seminar, which will run from January 19th to March 9th. You can attend in person or on Zoom. Books are available in the office.
At each service, we light our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian faith. Our chalice lighting words today are by Reverend Joe Cherry. Our beacon of hope. As we gather together for worship this morning, being both near and far, we light our chalice each week as the symbol of our faith. A single candle flame in a dark space illuminates a person in silhouette. May its light be a beacon of hope for the many, those who feel lost, those who feel threat, those who feel tired, those who are uncertain. May our beacon of hope help you find home, help you feel safe, give you respite, and honor your searching mind and spirit. Our first hymn this morning is We Gather Together, number 349. The words are on the screen and in the gray hymnal. Please stand as you are willing or able for hymn number 349.
Anyone would like to come forward for the story, you can do so now. Our story today is called Little Mole Finds Hope by Glennis Nellist. Little Mole was sad. He lay in his burrow deep underground and put his head in his paws. Little Mole, whatever's wrong? Asked Mama. I just don't know, Mama, sniffled Little Mole, but I don't feel good inside. I'm sad. What you need is hope, Mama said. Hope? What's hope? Where do I find it? Little Mole asked. Come with me, Mama said as she took hold of Little Mole's paw. Sometimes hope is hiding in the darkness. Sometimes it's hard to see, but it's always there. You just have to find it. Mama led her son gently out of the dark burrow up toward the light, but on their way out of the tunnel, Mama stopped. You see this bulb, Little Mole? She asked. Mama pointed to a bulb squashed in the dark earth. It was brown, wrinkled, and lifeless. It's dead, Mama, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. This bulb is not dead. Sometime soon it will feel the warmth of the sun. It will begin to grow and push its way out of the deep, cold earth. One day this bulb will become a beautiful yellow daffodil. Close your eyes, Little Mole. Can you see it dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I can see it. I can see it. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and Mama reached the top of the burrow where the sun was shining. Look up, Little Mole, Mama said. What do you see? Little Mole looked up and he saw woodpeckers sitting in the trees. But the branches were bare and they stretched out like skeleton bones silhouetted against the sky. I think they're dead, Mama, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. The trees are not dead. One day soon buds will appear and these branches will be covered in bright green leaves. Close your eyes, Little Mole. Can you see them dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I can see them. I can see them. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and his Mama scurried along the edge of the woods until they came to Mr. Rabbit's garden. An old brown flower pot was lying on its side in the soil. Under the rim, something small and shriveled was hanging. I think it's dead, said Little Mole. No, my dear, Mama whispered softly. This chrysalis is not dead. One day soon, the butterfly growing inside will burst out of her shell. She will spread her wings and fly free among the flowers. Close your eyes, Little Mole, said Mama. Can you see her dancing in the wind? Yes, Mama, cried Little Mole. I see her, I see her. That is hope, Mama said. Little Mole and his Mama went home. I had a wonderful day today, Mama, Little Mole said happily. Now I know that there's always hope, even in the darkest places. Mama smiled and she tucked Little Mole into bed, pulled his quilt up under his chin, and kissed him good night. And Little Mole closed his eyes and fell fast asleep, dreaming of yellow daffodils, green trees, and beautiful butterflies dancing in the wind. And that is the end of our story. As our guest musicians play, the children are dismissed to their class.
I'm not sure how many calories I burned while wiggling in my chair, but I think it was a significant amount. Thank you both so much for your wonderful music. One part of our services when we gather is our time to mark the moments in our lives. We share with one another our joys and our sorrows, the events that mark the steps on our journey. The threads of sorrow and the threads of joy are intertwined in the fabric of our lives. We share these threads, and then they're woven together with all of the others in our community. Our joys are shared and magnified. Our sorrows become comforted. I invite you to type into the chat if you are watching on the live stream, or to speak into the shared space if you're here with us today, your name or the name of another that you wish remembered in sorrow. Chase Epler.
My brother Mike.
Brother Mike.
The family of Mike Dodge.
Family of Mike Dodge.
Michelle Grubbs.
Michelle Grubbs. In addition to sorrow, there is joy. I invite you to share your name or the name of one that you wish us to think of in joy, or to type into the chat on the YouTube live stream.
Skylar Wyndham.
Skylar Wyndham.
Aiden.
Aiden.
Brittany Pearson.
Brittany Pearson. Because there's a short lag between what happens live and what happens on YouTube, we have several additional sorrows. Linda, the family of Greg Keller, who passed away, the families of Jack Whiteman and Hazel Zimmerman. And we have one more joy from our virtual guest sermonizer, Jamie Radcliffe, the joy having Dom around for Christmas. We know there are also joys and sorrows that cannot be spoken aloud. They may be deeply felt, but they are inside for now. For those joys and for those sorrows, let us hold a moment of silence. Thank you for your presence. Today's prayer is by Steve Garnis Holmes. It's called Prayer for Presence. Loving one, free me from my self-enclosure to trust that I am fully loved and heard so that I can love and hear others. Help me to be fully present and to be aware of myself, my reactions, my wounds and fears and filters, and to mindfully, lightfully hold those aside so that I can be fully present for others, truly listening, opening a space in me for them to be safe, to be true, and to be free. May I be a spacious and welcoming presence to offer people the precious gift of being heard, being seen, being witnessed. As you remain seated, please now join me in the hymn 123, Spirit of Life. The words are on the slide. Hymn number 123, also found in your gray hymnals. Each week, we take up a collection to support the work of this church. We do this because just as we all grow from participation in this community.
There's a reading first.
Oh my heavens! You're going to be offering soon. I'm sorry. Thank you, Kathy.
Our reading today is a poem by Brad Aaron Modlin. It's called What You Missed That Day You Were Absent from 4th Grade. Mrs. Nelson explained how to stand still and listen to the wind, how to find meaning in pumping gas, how peeling potatoes can be a form of prayer. She took questions on how not to feel lost in the dark. After lunch, she distributed worksheets that covered ways to remember your grandfather's voice. Then the class discussed falling asleep without feeling you had forgotten to do something else, something important, and how to believe the house you wake in is your home. This prompted Mrs. Nelson to draw a chalkboard diagram detailing how to chant the Psalms during cigarette breaks, and how not to squirm for sound when your own thoughts are all you hear, also that you have enough. The English lesson was that I am is a complete sentence. And just before the afternoon bell, she made the math equation look easy, the one that proves that hundreds of questions and feeling cold and all those nights spent looking for whatever it was you lost, and one person add up to something.
So offering. The offering today is going to the church's discretionary fund. It's supported entirely by contributions through the year from our members and friends. The fund is used to provide confidential assistance to those facing emergency financial needs, perhaps people who need lessons in reading their script better. As our guest musicians play the next piece of music, the ushers will pass the offering plates. You can also give by texting UC Lincoln and the amount of your gift to 73256. That's UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. Your generous donations are gratefully received.
My name's Jamie Radcliffe, and I'm a worship associate of this church. Over the last few years, I've begun taking holidays in a foreign country. Conveniently, no travel is involved since I can't travel. The language spoken there is rather like English, but the vocabulary is strange to me, the idioms different from those I'm accustomed to. Maybe you've been there too. I journey with some trepidation, some feeling of not belonging to the land of the young, the world of Instagram, TikTok, constant contact, influencers, and crazy rents. It all began with podcasts, which maybe you could think of as weekly or bi-weekly radio shows distributed over the internet. They're not scheduled at a particular time. Instead, they're released on a regular schedule. My son mentioned a couple to me, and I started listening to them. My current favorite is Judge John Hodgman. The judge presides over a fake internet court, and hears disputes such as the following. Andrew wants to throw a birthday party for Bilbo Baggins from Lord of the Rings. His wife Marie says that he is welcome to throw this party, but she won't be there. Who's right? Who's wrong? So now I'm listening to Judge John Hodgman or Mabimbam or Off Book whenever I'm doing errands around the house. I got a Twitter account a long time ago, back when it was Twitter, to see Lincoln Stars lineups, but I don't have accounts on Instagram or TikTok. I'm on Facebook, but I'm assured by my son that that pretty much proclaims to the world that I'm as old as the hills. It was the Judge John Hodgman podcast that first alerted me to the existence of YouTubers like Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is estimated to make $500 million a year in income from his channel on YouTube. There he has hosted, for instance, a rock, paper, scissors tournament with a grand prize of $250,000. I learnt about Tim the Tatman, who has 5.5 million followers. Many of his videos have titles such as Reacting to Food TikToks That Make You Hungry. That one has almost 1 million views. Let me do a little calculating. About $20,000 in income from that video. Now, I have no complaints about the existence of such things. People like what they like, and YouTube makes it possible for people to earn lots of money, as do movies, TV shows, sporting events, and the existence of legalized gambling. It was just a shock to me to see quite how big this sector of the economy is, one that was largely invisible to me before now. Carbon accounting consultancy Greenly estimates that TikTok's carbon footprint is roughly the same as that of Greece. Unfortunately, on my most recent trip to the land of the young, I seem to have caught a rather nasty disease. I've come down with a bad case of doom scrolling. I'm sure you know the symptoms. I've been stuck in a cycle of consuming news and social media semi-obsessively. I used to read a lot of good old-fashioned physical books with paper and bindings, and when I was lucky, dust jackets. I used to sit with a cup of tea and be absorbed. And that's changed. Doom scrolling was named Word of the Year in 2020 by the Macquarie Dictionary. Its prevalence has certainly been increased by the pandemic, but the phenomenon goes back longer than that, to when Asa Raskin invented infinite scroll, the ability of web pages to load an unlimited amount of additional content as the user scrolls. More recently, the Oxford English Dictionary made brain rot the word of the year. A lecturer at Harvard Medical School warns that if you have a device, it's open season for doom scrolling. Stress stokes our primary urge to scroll, she says. We're hypervigilant and scanning for danger. The more you scroll, the more you feel you need to. In other words, doom scrolling causes brain rot, and, well, brain rot can lead to absence. absence from the world, absence from our friends, absence from each other. I'm not saying that there's no doom to scroll through. In the dark of winter, our thoughts readily turn to worries large and small. There is violence and crisis in the Middle East. There are threats to cherished freedoms at home, attacks on long-settled parts of the social contract. Who among us has not felt a little like Little Mole, and when asked, "Little Mole, what's wrong?" has not felt like replying, "I don't know, but I don't feel good inside. I'm sad." But help is at hand. And the cure for brain rot isn't gripe water and cod liver oil. But there are ways for us to fight the fading. The fading I feel when I visit the front page of the Guardian newspaper for the 14th time today. The fading into absence I feel when I fail to email one of my oldest friends because I just don't know what to say to him. The fading I feel when I want to turn away from everything and bury my ostrich head in the glorious yellow sands of YouTube. The way to fight the fading is to be present. The way that to fight the fading is to receive the gift of presence from those around us. The way to fight the fading is to be present to the glories of the world around us, in its beauty, in its grandeur, in its bat guano craziness, and its mystery. Mama Mole knew what to do when Little Mole felt sad. She showed Little Mole the bulb from which a daffodil would spring. The moles, like us, are in the bleak midwinter, so only the bulb, the promise of a daffodil, could be seen. But in their mind's eye, the moles saw the full glory of what would come, the shimmering yellow flower, the leafless trees dancing with leaves once again. As we, as people, have explored the wonders around us, we have seen many things that we can't see. Since 2015, we've been able to measure the gravity waves that ripple across the universe, stirred by tempests of unimaginable ferocity in the dying dance of stellar objects 30 times the mass of our sun. In 1911, Ernest Rutherford discovered that atoms have ultra-dense central cores by bombarding gold foil with atoms of helium stripped of their electrons. Smashing husks of one of the most recently discovered elements into one known from prehistory allowed us to see in our mind's eye, with the aid of a machine's eye, into the heart of how this world is built. In the late 1800s, the oceanographic vessel Challenger, the first of its kind, went on a 4-year journey to see what it could see of the deep ocean, long considered barren of life and possibility, and discovered an astonishing array of seemingly miraculous living creatures, including deep-sea octopuses. Octopuses are astonishing creatures with 6 brains, unbounded curiosity, and eyes that see in ways we cannot. Maria Popova writes in her poem, The Age of the Possible, "There, at the bottom of being, where the water that makes this planet a world is the color of space-time, the octopus, with her body-shaped mind and her 8-arm embrace of alien realities, with her colorblind vision, sight full of polarized light, and her perpetual awestruck, lidless eye, can see shades of blue we cannot conceive. A blink of time ago, we thought the octopus impossible. We thought this blue world lifeless below 300 fathoms, until in 1898, an epoch after Bach scribbled in the margin of a composition, 'Everything that is possible is real,' we plunged our prosthetic eye deep into the blue and found a universe of life. There, the octopus, godless and possible, lives. I'm a fan of octopuses and of the mad creation where we have our physical being, but there may be those among you who feel that the magnificence of black holes crashing together in the night is for you thin gruel and cold comfort. Don't worry, I prescribe a healthy dose of being present with other people. Luckily, you're doing that right now. Humans, since the dawn of our species, or at least since we learned to control fire, have been gregarious folk. They have gathered to sing together around a campfire, gathered to breathe together, gathered to be silent together. These forces of connection, embedded deeply in our hearts, minds, and bodies, are present here and now. Our campfire is now a chalice, but the incantation is the same. The feeling of being one in many, the feeling of many being one. We can also try, though it is difficult, to be fully present with the people we meet in the world face to face, one on one. The spark that can be kindled by honest listening, honest talking, is one of the world's greatest joys. To be calm and questioning, open and truthful, eye to eye, is to give and receive a present beyond price. Mrs. Nelson should be our guide. She explained to us how to stand still and listen to the wind, and how peeling potatoes can be a form of prayer, that you have enough, that you are enough. And finally, she showed us the math equation that proves that hundreds of questions and feeling cold and all those nights spent looking for whatever it was you lost, and one person add up to something. Our closing hymn is number 315 from the Gray hymnal, This Old World.
Thank you, Bill, for your amazing music, as always. Before our closing words, because we have the time, I just want to share one bit of wisdom that I recently learned from a friend. My friend was talking about how New Year's resolutions are so problematic. You set yourself up to be later disappointed in yourself or set ridiculous expectations that you'll just end up poking at yourself. My friend recommended setting old year resolutions. You have 3 days. You could eat more salad in 3 days. You could finally try yoga, but only for 3 days. You could also, for 3 days, be gentler with yourself or try to be more present and doom scroll less. Say hello to someone that you haven't said hello to, take a walk, and enjoy the crisp air. I hope that your old year resolution between now and when we see you next week in the 2025 new year is something that brings you joy. Our closing words are from the current Unitarian minister of our time, Reverend Scott Taylor. It is entitled, Calling Us Home. May awareness lead you on your way. May you always be where you are, free from the quicksand of the past and loose from the imagined fires of the future. And may you always hear the precious present calling you home. Go in peace after our last piece of music.
Before we play, I wanted to say something. Actually, this is from a fellow member of the A Street Band who wrote something. Jen Bueller. Jen Bueller. Sorry, Jen. Unfortunately, I'm out of town today and can't be with you in person. My tenure with the band has been the shortest, but that time has had a huge impact on me. I had lost the faith that had nourished me for 50 years, and many of the ways that I connected with my spirituality no longer fit. So I joined the Unitarian Church of Lincoln and the A Street Band. Connecting with like-minded people and exercising my creativity has been a joy that I thought I had lost. Thanks to Bob for welcoming me in and exercising the leadership to make it a successful experience. Those of us in the band, A Street Band, are committed to continuing, but we will need your help. Show up to our third Thursday services, advocate to the board, join the music committee. So this is from Jen. I wanted to add my appreciation for Bob. For one thing, it's certainly better to play with somebody who's better than you are. You sound a whole lot better when that happens. So I much appreciate it. The other thing is he's been so gracious in, if he asked me to play, I've been able to choose the songs. Now, that's a big advantage because I'm a real slow learner, for one thing. I don't pick up, and so these are things that I have known for a while. So that's a big advantage, but on the other hand, Bob is just able to pick up and do this. We will very much miss your leadership and inspiration, Bob. So I wanted to say that. Great.
one out as you leave. So go in peace, and we'll see you later.
Thank you.